Hey guys, Stefano here. Welcome back to Building an Empire, episode 6. We are cruising. We're getting there. All right, my friends, here's the deal. Today is the day that we all have to focus our attention on one very important thing. And we need to figure out, why we are all looking at other people's content to try to beat it. You know, the world works like this. I get it. I'm the same way. But what I've learned is you shouldn't look at other people's work and say, man, I gotta beat that, or I gotta do better than that, or if I excel, if I just do a little notch higher, maybe I'll take their client. I mean, essentially, this is what we're all thinking. That couldn't be further from the truth, and we all know that. I mean, yes, we love what people do, and we want to try to replicate it or perhaps do better. It doesn't mean you're gonna get their client. What it means is that you're just in a competitive nature, and maybe you're focusing too much on the competition, and maybe you should be thinking, you know what, I don't have a competition because I'm about to reinvent it. That's where businesses in general tend to miss the mark. Okay, if you're playing a game of darts, imagine your business is like playing a game of darts. You want to get it on that bullseye, but if you're against someone and they nail that bullseye, okay, you think, oh man, if I don't get that bullseye, I'm gonna lose. But the game of darts in general is you gotta accumulate points to win. That bullseye doesn't mean that they've won and that's it, you've lost. It means that they've gotten the little advantage on you. But if you stay focused and you start, positioning the darts in the right place, you're gonna overcome them by getting majority of the points. You're gonna win long term. That's where I think the struggle is. This episode is gonna be focused on long-term work, long-term progress. Okay, long-term. Now, what do I mean by long-term? Okay, the world itself is going at such a quick pace, rapid rate, that we tend to get overwhelmed. I at times do, but you really have to put things into perspective. That's how you can slow the world down a bit. Technology is going fast. Everyone's life is just fast, connected. Just go. Okay. What we need to do is this. We need to build a long-term strategy. And that is where many businesses, such as, if you guys are ready for this, Payless Shoes, Toys R Us, Blockbusters, Sears, Zellers, JCPenney, all of these businesses, 95% of them, except for JCPenney, which JCPenney is going to be out very soon, they are bankrupt. They failed. Now, why have they failed? Bad marketing strategy, bad social media. They didn't see the technology curve coming. They didn't adapt with the world the way it is. Yes, to all of it, except one thing. Their long-term strategy wasn't long-term enough. It was very short-term. When Amazon came into the picture and they reinvented shopping, okay, why the hell didn't companies like Toys R Us jump on it? Jump on the new trend, jump on the online infrastructure. That's the problem. They didn't build the proper infrastructure, the right branding and mentality, what you need to survive in this day and age. The big branded, box branded businesses, they just don't have it anymore. The small guys are starting to take over. Best Buy is another prime example. I'd say 10 years ago, give or take, they were king on top. They were just running the show. They could outmuscle anyone for pricing. They're the big box. They're everything. Now, who needs them? You go to Amazon, you get same thing, probably better deal, free shipping. You don't have to even drive. So, where's the advantage of going to Best Buy? There really isn't. Okay, you can go in store and you can try it out and test it out. Come on. I mean, the reality is, if you want a TV, you look at the reviews, you go on YouTube, you check it out, you're buying it. I mean, it varies from person to person. Even at times, you're going to buy a TV because you've seen it at a friend's house or a family member's house and you just love the quality. You look into it, they say, hey, you know what, I bought it on Amazon, and they buy it. So the long-term process behind it all when it comes to a business, that's what's missing, my friends. Long-term is a thing of the past, which is crazy because long-term is now the present. So here's my mentality. When I work with a client, I always plan for long-term. I don't plan for long-term because I think I can get more money like that. I plan for long term because then I can build the proper structure in order for my clients to succeed, and then makes me succeed, because if I give them quality content long term and it's working, of course they're going to keep coming back. Of course I'm going to consistently have more work because the long-term process is working. Short-term process will never work because this day and age, everything is just moving too quickly. You need to have a certain process. So here's one thing. I'm not going to tell you the client in which I did this with, but I was with a client and we worked diligently and very long-term process that we built incredible content. And after the first month of great content, like great interaction with our new clients and past clients, we decided to have it's kind of like a new release for a clothing line. Okay, it was beyond a success. Why? Because we every day, every week, every month for a few months we plugged and we worked and we made it seem, and it was an event you could not miss. And they're I'd say the revenue at least went up 3,000%. It was a very, very successful event, my friends. The long term works because you need to have the long term mentality nowadays. Short term just means you're looking for the quick buck. I can guarantee you though, after that quick buck, you're not getting that quick buck from that person again. Tell me where's the benefit in that? You need to have long term structure. I always say, in order to build a sustainable business, you need to have recurring clients. You need to have that clientele that you know that every month you're guaranteed that certain amount of money. That's how you're going to continue building a business. How in the world can you structure yourself knowing this month I made 10,000, next month maybe I'll make 1,000, or if I continue this way, maybe I'll just make enough money to survive? What is this? This is crazy talk. This is not building a business. This is building a temporary business that I'm sure you're going to get screwed over by yourself and you're going to have to shut the door. And then what happens? Your name gets completely tarnished. Your branding is no more. So now you're going to have to reinvent yourself. And I'm sorry, my friends, in 2019, which is the year we're in, reinventing yourself is difficult because you are reinventing yourself with the next 100 million people that want to reinvent themselves. So you need to be a work in progress constantly. You need to be an expert at your craft. But guess what? Being an expert never means that there's an end to that tunnel. Because once you become an expert, you now have to look at what you've missed to become an expert in the next step, and the next step, and the next step. So you'll never be the best of the best of the best. Steve Jobs said it incredible. He says, every day that I try to become the best, someone always tests my skills. So you can never be the best, because as soon as you have a question that needs to get answered and you can't find that answer just yet, that means that you have to go and do research. That means you're not an expert. So none of us are experts. And I really do believe that the failure in this day and age as an entrepreneur, as a someone that owns your own business, and even if you don't own your own business, even if you're doing a side hustle job, you need to think long term. That will be the success of you as a person and your brand. If you have a storefront, okay, and you do not have that reoccurring clientele, let's say you're a hairdresser, you have a great salon. If you don't have that reoccurring clientele, tell me, how do you know how much revenue you're going to make every month? You just don't. Very volatile business. You don't want to be in that situation. You're going to be stressed, have anxiety. Your depression will kick in because if you have a bad month, it's not good. Now, a lot of people are going to say to me, and they'll call me out after hearing this podcast. They're going to say, Stefano, no one knows. No one knows how a month is going to go from time to time because the economy is just changing. It's so volatile. Yes and no. I mean, yes and no. There are businesses, structured businesses, you can have long term. There's no question about it because loyalty matters now. And if you have a good loyal clientele, you already know that every month for the next foreseeable future, let's say next 5 months, 4 months, I know that I'm going to make this much. Now, does it mean sit back and relax? No, it means that you have this amount of money coming in. It's not a for sure, but you've worked towards it. Now, how can you get new clienteles to take over for the old clients? Because eventually it's going to be like a big turnover. It's like when you make the wine. When you make the wine, you're going to have to turn the grapes again to get more of the juice out. And essentially, that's how a business has to run. You're doing a great job. You're pressing it. You're pushing it. Everything is working. But then it comes a time where you have to turn. You got to turn it all again. You got to make sense of it all again. And then you got to get more of the juice out. That's how you're going to get your business to grow. I'm not going to get into do you need workers or not. I'm not going to get into that as far as that goes. But when it comes to building, you need to think long term. Long term, my friends. That's what this podcast is about. A lot of people might ask me too, well, how do I do that? It's not an easy answer, and it's really not an easy goal. But the long-term process has to be these 3 points, okay? So before we end the podcast, you're going to take these 3 points on it. Building long-term, you require 3 things. Great engagement, meaning you have to really be... you have to involve yourself in their lives. You have to involve yourself in their thinking. You really have to be a part of their thought process. You really have to show that you care. So be the person that cares for their client, okay? That's number 1. Number 2, you have to constantly stay on the cutting edge of what you do for a living. Doesn't matter what it is, you always have to stay on the forefront of it. If there's something new happening, something trendy, you got to be on top of it. You have to be always one step ahead of everyone else. And if you're not, you're going to slowly go back and it won't become long-term anymore. And last but not least, you need to know that if your mindset is making that quick buck, you're going to fail. Long-term doesn't mean quick buck. Long-term means effectively charging people what you feel will be fair on both ends. It doesn't mean that you're going to get rich quick, because that's not long-term. However, what it means is you're being fair to both you and your client, and you're making an income. They're saving because they're getting the professional quality, and that you are taking the time to make sure that their wallet is not killing, they're bleeding. And this is how it all works together. You're helping them, they're helping you. It's a community. That's the business world now needs to be a tightly knit community, because there's competition everywhere. But I always tell all my clients, competition is only there to make you a better person. It's not there to hurt you, because there's a lot of work to go around. You just got to be really good at what you do. You know what I mean, guys? All right. Check me out on Instagram. You know how it works, at TTL Films. I'm on Facebook and YouTube, all that good stuff. But Instagram is primarily where I like to focus my attention on. It may change when something new comes out. But in the meantime, like I've always said, check out my previous podcasts. I've made comments to Twitter being too noisy. I've made comments to Facebook being too drama-filled. YouTube is too saturated. You need them all, yes. But don't focus your attention completely on all of them. A lot of people, such as Gary Vaynerchuk, he says you should always have your hands in everything just in case one platform collapses. There's truth to that, yes. But if your business is not going to succeed on Twitter, you putting all your eggs in that basket is not good. So focus on a platform that really works for your business, and put your emphasis on that. You can't spread yourself too thin, and you also can't focus too much on one thing. So stay true to who you are, and when you find that little niche that works for you, do it. All right, my friends, long term, not short term. Be successful long term. I will talk to you next episode.